Joining me now is Congressman Tom Cole, who represents the district, including Moore, Oklahoma, where he also lives. Congressman Cole, I know you're in Washington tonight, but are you having trouble getting through to your home?
I was able to get through. It's kind of hit and miss. Your reports are exactly right. There's a heavy amount of cell traffic. None of the normal phone lines obviously are working, but I've been able to talk to my wife first and foremost, quite frankly, and also to some local officials on the ground, the governor's office. The president was kind enough to call tonight, so things are underway. Sadly, they've got a lot of experience. It's the fourth time we've been hit in 15 years, and you know, they're pretty tough and pretty tenacious. We've got great first responders, and we've got terrific support from the surrounding communities, obviously from the Oklahoma National Guard, and eventually federal government will play a key role as well. So we're getting there, but it's just devastating, Lawrence. It's just awful.
Congressman Cole, could you tell us about your conversation with the president tonight?
I certainly can. He was very gracious to call. He had already visited, obviously, with the governor, as was appropriate, and just wanted to call and express his sympathy, and then say, I want you to know we went through what was being mobilized in terms of FEMA and NORCOM, and said, Tom, anything you need, just call the White House. We'll be there for you. And I know that to be true. I was a public official with Frank Keating during the Oklahoma City bombing, and when you go through these kind of things, you begin to figure out how lucky you are to be an American, even in the midst of tragedy, because extraordinary resources and capabilities of this country are immediately at your disposal in a situation like this. So the President wanted to make sure that he knew it was my hometown, that was going to be the case again. I didn't have any doubt, but it was very, very thoughtful of him to make the call.
Congressman Cole, we're going to be joined now by the mayor of Moore, and I want you two to be able to speak to make sure that Moore is getting everything it needs. We're joined now. We just had Mayor Glenn Lewis on the phone, and apparently we just lost him. So much for the phone connections there. Congressman, what is your sense of what is needed there now? I know you're going to go home tomorrow and have a better sense of it, but what are you hearing about what you need down there?
Well, the first thing is what we don't need, and that was mentioned earlier in your program too. We don't need people that are not trained first responders, have not been called to the scene. It's better if you're not there. You're going to get in the way, and it's going to lengthen the amount of time in the search for survivors. So please, 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 if you're not supposed to be there, you're not a trained first responder, haven't been called, don't come. Second, I think we're going to have everything we need in terms of the resources. Again, we're sadly very experienced at this, so are the surrounding communities. So I'm pretty comfortable that people will be there, but it's going to take time. Again, this is an extraordinary event. Even worse, I think, from what my friends tell me on the ground than 1999 was. So more damage, obviously more deaths. We've already lost more people than we lost in '99, and we lost most of them in Moore. In 1999, that event was spread out over a much larger area into Oklahoma City, and that particular F-5 was literally on the ground for 80 miles. So this was on the ground for a much shorter period of time, less warning, and more concentrated fury, if you will. So it'll be a few days before we know whether it's an F4 or an F5, but if you're in front of one of those things, even if you do everything right, there's not a lot you can do if you're above ground. That's the tragedy in Plaza Towers. Those teachers and those children did exactly the right thing. They were safer in that school. It's a much more secure environment, thick walls, interior hallways, built to deal with tornadoes. The houses around where most of those children would come from, because there's another elementary only a mile away, so most of those children were very local, were, if anything, more exposed. So again, the teachers, the administrators, the children did exactly the right thing, and still, because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, there wasn't much that could help them, and it just breaks your heart.
Congressman Cole, that's what feels, I think, so painful about this story, is that these people were warned in the morning with the weather reports that things could get very bad, but unlike other conceivable weather situations, it seems impossible to guess what the best thing is to do. You're saying that given everything we know, the school is probably the better place to be rather than home. But as the luck of this turns out, it may turn out to be the opposite.
It may, and it's so different than a hurricane. Those things are awful, and they cover a wide area. These are actually more damage, but a much smaller area. So the odds are always that it's not going to hit you, that it's not, even if it's come through your town, that you'll probably be okay. Look, the one in 99 was 100 yards or so north of my house. This one's about 300 yards to the south. No damage in our area. So, you know, it'll look like nothing happened. So it really is. There's an element of luck in it, or bad luck, misfortune, and that's clearly what happened. After that, all you can do is prepare the best you can, and we were well prepared. We were warned as well as you can be warned. People take them seriously. People know what to do. Again, first responders, the police, fire are absolutely terrific at this sort of stuff. So I'm comfortable things were done well, and certainly the response has been good. But you know, we were just a community in the wrong place at the wrong time, and now, you know, obviously with dozens and dozens of people dead.
Congressman Tom Cole, thank you very much for joining us on this very, very difficult night for you and for your community. Really appreciate you being with us.
Lawrence, thank you, and thanks for covering my folks and my friends.
We are going to continue to do that. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.
Our breaking